So good afternoon, Daisy. We're online here at the first legal cannabis center at Housing Works here at 750 Broadway in Lower Manhattan. And I wanted to ask you, does this experience take away the mystique of, let's say, like back in the day when you like to go out to score weed? You know, somebody may say, you know, there's a guy you in the corner. You know, talk about this experience versus the experiences when you first went out to score weed.
I would actually have to jump in a DeLorean and be maybe about 15 years older.
Right.
Because I'm a little bit too young, actually. I was born into the whole hippie, Beatles, peace, love thing.
Right.
Yes.
So now talk about this experience waiting online to basically score legal weed.
Well,
talk about this experience.
This is more of a historic thing.
Yeah.
Being born into it,
right.
I missed it by being born.
Right.
So yeah, this is one of those lifetime milestone things.
Yeah.
Like, you know, going to the Pride Parade or going to see the ball drop on New Year's Eve, like that.
Right. So you know, there's word coming from Colorado.
Oh yes,
that,
Colorado.
That the sales have really flattened.
I've heard.
Because of just a lot of people going into the business. Do you think that'll happen here, firstly?
Yes.
And secondly, how will branding help the different individual operations distinguish themselves from the others? Because remember back in the day, someone may say, oh, you know, when you go out, look for green tape or look for tragic magic. You know, how is the branding process going to work with legal weed?
When I first heard about legal, quote unquote, it was considered hot house. It was privately sold, and you had to go out to Jersey. The brand back then was called Skywalker.
Right.
And all the Star Wars fans had a little giggle over that one.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I want to say thank you so very much for your time. You know, you gave me some really good stuff, and good luck. And so, what are you going to be getting today?
I'm just, like I said, I'm here for the cultural, historic aspect.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Okay. But thank you so very much for your time. I really appreciate it.
No problem.
Thank you. Steve, good to meet you, man.
Oh, yeah. Great.
Now, we're here online for the first day of legal cannabis at 750 Broadway in Lower Manhattan at Housing Works.
Yeah.
Talk about this experience versus the experience of when you were a young guy going out trying to score weed.
Oh, well, this experience here, getting online, waiting, takes me back where we used to wait online overnight for the sneakers. The new sneakers and the games coming out. So
right.
This is a good, a flashback for me, but I'm a regular marijuana smoker from New York. I'm from the Bronx, Wakefield Park, White Plains Road up there, where, we got the, the lawns and, the grass. So, we do the homegrown up there sometimes, it come out, not like this, this is professional wise. So
yeah,
I'd rather go with this all day, and it's better for my city, like I said, I'm born in New York.
But
so.
let me ask you now, I'm 70 years old, I'm born and raised in New York as well. And, everybody had their favorite weed spot.
Oh, okay.
Now, did you have that experience growing up where there might have been a little spot, then maybe they had a little can of juice and a couple of bottles of soda.
Plenty of them. There's plenty of them
But,
in New York.
basically that was the weed spot.
And
also, there's someone may say, go down that alley and knock on the door 3 times.
Those are we have famous weed spots in New York City, man.
Yeah.
A lot of them, man, 174th over there, we used to go to the Dover, first we go get the weed over there, the $3 tray bags, then go over to watch the movies at the Dover Theater, 74th, You know, you got we had White Plains Road over there. You know, this is in the early 80s. I'm talking about 81, 82.
Right.
You know,
Right.
You know where the bags was $3. It was $3 bags. You
Exactly.
know, we rolling up 10 joints out of that. Part 15, 20 joints, partying all day. 2-3 days back in the days with that. You know, the weed is a little more expensive now, but you know, with you know, as the economy grows, you know, you grow up, you know, everything, you know, expenses grow. So
Right.
You know,
Now talk about how branding is going to be important for legal weed, because how you going to distinguish yourself from one operation from another? Like from back in the day, someone may say, you know, look for the green tape, or some other distinguishable name that would go, and then you know you may get that, and someone may put a bug in your ear, yo man, that particular brand fell, so you got to go look for another brand. You know, talk about how branding is going to be so important for these different operations to distinguish themselves.
Okay, I understand what you're saying. Well, those weeds, like back in the days, like skunk.
Right.
You know, they had the skunk weed, the Acapulco Gold. I'm hoping I see that there. If they got that, then they back in the days, they're gonna basically, how you say, corner the market with the legit industry. With the legit industry, they're gonna corner. You see, the veteran smokers is here.
Right.
So if the veteran smokers going where it's supposed to be good at, this is our first day in New York. I'm glad to be here. You know, there was one on 125th, but that's with the card too. I have my weed card, but you know, I want to try the, you know, the recreational joint. You know, I want to see what this is about. So you know.
So now will as locations begin to open up, will this be your main spot, or will you go around the city and try different spots?
Well, for now, this is be my main spot. This is my main location. I guess it's every day on the line.
Well, Steve, thank you so very much for your time. I really appreciate you talking to me about this.
Yeah,
and this
anytime,
is truly
bro.
an historic day.
We New York City, man.
That's
the
right.
Bronx,
and
man.
Those of us who came under the Rockefeller drug laws, we're glad that these laws are going up this slope.
They get a little break, man. I get a breather, right? Loosen it up in there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, blessed, man.
But thank
Good
you
to
so
see
very
you, man.
much.
All right, anytime to talk to you,
Peace
brother.
and blessings, brother.
Peace and blessing, love, man.
So it's good catching up with you, Christian. We're here online for the first ever legal weed spot in New York City. And talk about this experience versus the adventure and the whole idea of going out to score weed. When you would like to go into the weed spot and things like that. Talk about this experience versus having to go, you know, find the brother that's on the corner, you know. Talk about that experience.
Well, firstly, thanks for having me. It's nice being here. About this experience, it cuts the shame. It cuts the shame of having to like sneak around and smoke or go to cop some weed. It's just, it makes it more civil.
Yeah.
You know, it's like you're going to the pharmacy to get some medication. That's essentially what I'm about to do here, you know? Get some medication. So.
But do you think this legal process takes away from the mystique of it being illegal, and you know, just hanging out with your friends, being like a young guy, doing mischievous things like going cop weed and getting high? Does this being legal take away from that whole experience of knowing that you're doing something that's not right, but enjoying it at the same time? Does this take away from that whole experience?
No, it's not. It's not going to take away from the experience, because like this is the first one of many, I hope. They're not going to be everywhere. They're not going to be open all the time.
Right.
So it's either you're going to grow it for yourself, or you're still going to have to go to the man.
Right. So now, you know, you're from the Caribbean, and you know, my heritage is from Jamaica.
Okay.
So we in our mindset, we think about how we're gonna grow it ourselves.
Yeah.
Do you think that this process will grow exponentially if people are in the mindset of not being on the resale side of it and the wholesale side of it, but being on the growing side of it. How do you think that process is going to play out?
Well, once there's a balance between, there's always going to be a balance because one, people need to grow because you grow weed, you grow food.
Yeah.
It goes hand in hand. And two, with the dispensaries, some of them are going to be too pricey for the average guy to get.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to have to balance off. Like, people are going to barter the weed at some point.
Yeah.
Because you might have some tomatoes, I have some weed. What are we going to do?
Right.
So that's just how it's going to have to be. And we need to get back into the system of being self-dependent.
Yes.
You know, because like we depend too much now on the government for handouts and the systems. Like we could do a lot of things on our own.
Right.
So it should
So you
balance
think
out.
the legality of this particular process should be pretty much out of the government's hands and let people build their own enterprises?
Yeah.
Am I correct when I say that?
Yes, you're correct, because it was like that before.
Yeah. So now, will this be your weed spot?
One of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But now, is there any particular thing that you're going to be looking for when you go in? Like, say, the difference between edibles or things that you can smoke. What's going to be your preference?
Flower. I'm going to get some flower.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Maybe I think they have like a sun-grown one, something like that. I'm going to get that. Like
Right.
most authentic one.
Yeah. But Chris, thank you very much for your time. I
You're
really
welcome, man.
appreciate it.
Nice meeting you.
And enjoy. And I hope the line is not going to be too long for you.
Oh no, it's fine.
Thanks so much.
I got here at the same time I wanted to get here.
Chris, how you doing, man?
I'm good.
So now we're online here at 750 Broadway in Lower Manhattan for the very first day of legalized cannabis at Housing Work.
Yep.
Talk about that experience waiting online here.
Well, it's pretty nice, you know. It's nice to know that like you're gonna get actual weed that like what it says on the box is real.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, vapes particularly impossible to get in New York.
Right.
Without being like just well, crap basically.
Yeah.
So here you can actually get them and know they're real and they actually like work.
Right. Talk about experiences like when you're coming up, trying to score weed. Talk about some of those adventures.
Well,
because I know a lot of times those can be adventures.
Well, it's always been so easy to get weed in New York.
Yeah.
When I was younger, you basically just had a number that you text on a weekend night, and they'd eventually pull up at this like corner. You'd get in, buy an eighth, buy a cart, whatever. Yeah, it was always actually pretty chill.
Yeah.
I mean, one time the dealer was like having a fight with his girlfriend. But apart from that, it's always been fairly chill.
Yeah. Let me ask you, now that this is legal and word is coming out from Colorado that sales have sort of weaned a little bit because it's just been oversaturated with suppliers and retailers. Talk about that experience, if you think that'll happen in New York, and how will the individual dispensaries distinguish themselves? What's your idea? What's your idea that could take place where, like a place like Housing Works can separate themselves and create a brand that'll be different from maybe the guy that's down the street?
Well, I mean, the first thing that comes to mind is pricing.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact is, any dispensary, I was looking at the menu for this place today.
Yeah.
Any dispensary weed you get is going to be more expensive because it's also being taxed too.
Right.
So that's probably how they'll distinguish themselves the most. I mean, that's the thing. Colorado's had weed for a long time, so it also means that they've had like growing operations for a long time.
Right.
So it's going to be a while, I think, before, maybe it'll happen, but it's going to be a while before New York has the supply to meet the demand, the legal supply.
Right.
Whereas shit's getting smuggled in all the time from other states.
Yeah.
For the black market. I think it'll come really down to price, delivery too. I hear that maybe there's going to be smoking cafes. That might happen too.
Yeah. So you're looking for some big things to happen in the entire industry.
Oh well, it'll be a lot of money. Yes, people.
Yeah.
New York loves weed.
Yeah, absolutely. But Chris, thank you so very much for your time. I really, really appreciate talking with you about
No
this.
worries.
And enjoy the
Yeah.
vapors, my friend.
Yeah, have a good day. Nice to meet you.
So it's a pleasure to meet you, Ayanna, here on the line at 750 Broadway, waiting to score some legal weed from Housing Works.
Yes.
Tell me about the difference between this experience and the whole mystique and adventure of having to go out to score weed. Like, for instance, if somebody said to you, oh yeah, the best weed is over on McDonough
Yeah.
or Patchen, the little deli on the corner, you
Yes.
know, or the side door of an alley, you knock 3 times and they put the weed underneath the mailbox. Talk about those experiences versus just waiting online to go in to buy legal weed.
Well, this one is more freeing because I know what I'm buying most of the time. You know, I know
Right.
what I'm buying is FDA approved. I know what
Yeah.
I'm buying is actually for things that I need, anxiety, depression, or
Yeah.
you know, I get it from my mother too because she had surgery and she needed it. So it's different to buy from legal aspects. I know what I'm putting in my body versus, you know, you get it from Craig or you get it from so-and-so,
Right,
and you hope
right.
that it's what it's supposed to be, but you never really know, you know?
Exactly. So now, will this be your regular place?
We'll see. We'll
Uh-huh.
see what they have. We'll see what they have to offer. I did hear that it was coming from California.
Yeah.
So I'll see what they have.
Uh-huh.
You know?
So now what are you going to be scoring today?
Me, flour. I'm
Uh-huh.
flour all the way.
I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. Now let me ask you, how will places like Housing Works, how will their dispensary distinguish themselves from the others that are gonna come about?
Well,
go ahead.
I did listen to it on the news, and I know that they said they're supposed to be using the money to give back to the community because that's what
Right.
they work with, you know, for the homeless and other things. So I'm hoping that that's where the money actually goes, where they promise it should go.
Yeah, and so that aspect of it is very
Is it very
important to you.
enticing? Absolutely. You know, I want to give back to my community. I love New York. I had to always go to LA, so I'm happy to be in my home and give back to my community. And I hope that me spending my money here will go back into community like they promised.
You know, I really appreciate that notion. Lastly, I was just wondering if you had any experiences growing up as a young kid, going out trying to score weed. Did anything,
You
any
know,
stories that come to mind?
I've been very lucky that I haven't had any sad stories, but unfortunately my brother did not, and he was locked up for most of my life, actually,
Yeah.
for that purpose. So this is like, same thing I'm buying for him. He's, you know, he didn't come out, he's too old for
Yes.
that now, but, you know, I hope that they do what they say they're supposed to do when you did go to jail for those crimes, that they are expunged, and I really
Right.
hope that that happens as well.
Yeah. Well, Ayanna, thank you so very much for your time. I really appreciate you sharing those stories with me.
Thank you.
And I really appreciate the notion of coming here knowing that Housing Works will use the money for a good cause.
Yes, me
Thank
too.
you- thank you so very much.
Thank you. Long time coming.
So how you doing, Mike? It's
I'm
really
good.
good catching up with you here online at 750 Broadway, waiting to be able to do business with the very first cannabis location here at Housing Works. Tell me about this experience of just waiting online to go check out some weed, as opposed to like when you were coming up, having to go out and score weed. Talk about the difference between this experience and those experiences growing up.
Sure. So when I was in my youth, used to smoke with my friends at the park or at school. It was always a dangerous venture. It was always cops trying to find us, and I actually been arrested 4 times growing up. And so this for me is bittersweet that, you know, it's legal and, you know, it's going to be treated much like alcohol.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
people today are going to not have to worry about that. Especially people of color who, you know, unlike me, didn't get a record and didn't, you know, spend time in jail
Yeah.
for having a little bit of weed in their pocket.
Yeah, yeah. Let me ask you, The word is coming out of Colorado now that the state is being oversaturated with the retailers and dispensaries. How will places like Housing Works distinguish themselves in this entire New York City, New York State marketplace? How will they be able to be the main guy, the main spot, if you will?
Well, I'm not sure that they will be. And you know how competition is in New York City. I think the first order of business is to figure out, if you go to the store here to buy it legally and you're paying tax to help the state, which needs the money, if the guy that you normally get from is cheaper because it's still illegal and you don't have to pay tax, how many people are going to go to Housing Works, right? So I think the first situation is what do you do about that? And how do you fix that problem?
Yeah.
And I don't want to say, hey, let's, smash down hard on these people. Get them involved.
Right.
If they make deliveries now, make them make deliveries here. Get them legal and let them do what they've been doing, just not in a illegal fashion.
Right.
Now that there's an avenue for legality, they should be incorporated into it. Now, the one thing that sticks out to me about Housing Works is that it is a nonprofit,
right?
Which, unlike many of the other shops that I'm sure are going to come out, are going to be for profit.
Yeah.
And what they want to do is keep the money in the nonprofit and also give back to the community.
Right.
Especially people who have been incarcerated and affected by, harsh drug policies. Over the past decades.
Right. Lastly, do you feel that perhaps the grand opening should have been 4:20 a.m. as opposed to 4:20 p.m.?
It could have been. I appreciate not having to have come out in the middle of the night. It's my birthday, so 4:20 on my birthday sounds good to me.
Well,
to be able to be a part of history, really, and know that it's my little birthday gift to myself. To experience the first ever legal marijuana in New York State history.
Well, Mike, thanks so very much for your time, man. I really appreciate you sharing those stories with me.
Thank you.
Thanks so much. So how you doing, Angel?
Great, sir.
So I see we got a little activity out here. So we're waiting online for the opportunity to patronize the very first legal cannabis dispensary here at Housing Works. How does this experience differ from, let's say, growing up in Harlem, how there was a little deli, they might have had a little box of cookies on the top of the shelf, but actually that was the weed spot.
Right.
Talk about those experiences versus waiting online to go score some legal weed.
Well, first off, you don't have to watch over your shoulder nowadays, so that's important. And what's very important, you know what you're getting nowadays.
Right.
Everything's lab tested, everything. Safety first. I believe in that. So that's very important. Than the old school times. You don't know what they were growing, what they were mixing with the marijuana back in the days. But that's for the most important part. That's what it is.
Right. I have to ask you, how will Housing Works be able to distinguish themselves as other dispensaries come about? Like, for instance, if Joey on the corner of 139th Street had green tape bags and Fredo across the street had the red tape bags, how will the legal dispensaries distinguish themselves like the guy selling weed on the corner?
Well, product number one is important.
Yes.
What type of products, the variation of products you have. There's edibles, there's tinctures, there's cartridge, there's different type of smokables that you can, use the product with.
So
that's important. I think
absolutely.
If you have the more availability of product that people's gonna go to,
I'm glad you mentioned that because talk a little bit about the different products that are going to be available now, because it seems like you're pretty much aware of the different variety of items that can be purchased today. Talk about that.
Because I'm a medical cannabis patient.
Yeah.
So the medical cannabis program started about a year ago, last November. They rolled out slow about 6 strands, 2 to 3 strands, and then as the program grew, it became more available, about 10 to 15 different strands. So I'm pretty much sure the recreational side is going to happen like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's going to take some time and for the program to roll out, you know, fully.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, what are you going to be scoring today?
I'm coming for the flower.
I understand.
Come, you know, because I have chronic pains. It helps me sleep. So specifically, I'm coming for the indica to help me sleep at night.
Yes. Well, Angel, thank you so very much
You're
for
very welcome.
sharing those stories with me, and thank you so very much for your time.
You're very welcome, sir.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Austin, so good to see you here online for the very first opportunity to patronize Housing Works. Is going to open their very first legal cannabis location. Talk about this experience waiting online as opposed to like when you were a young guy trying to go out and score some weed.
Yeah.
Talk about those kind of differences.
For sure. With regards to the line, I don't think it's too big of a commitment, you know. I've been here for 20 minutes. If I was here for 8 hours, maybe different. But the reason I'm here today and not buying somewhere else from the guy down the block is because I know that this Housing Works is supporting people of color who are growers, LGBTQ growers in this specific establishment, and I know they're really enforcing that in the state as well. So that's why I'm standing here, that's why I'm waiting. Specifically, I know I could get this weed for cheaper somewhere else, but I like what the state is doing, and in this crazy world we live in, it's kind of nice to like be out and support something.
You know, I really like that particular notion, but you brought up another idea that I'd like to explore a little bit.
Sure.
Is there a future for the guy you said that you would normally go to? Is there a future for that guy?
That guy, that girl, that person, they'll always be around.
They'll always be around.
There are always going to be cheaper options. There's going to be people who don't want to buy at these stores always. I think about the state of Colorado, that there's still those guys around. There's legal shops on every block, but they're still there. There's still space for them. I wish them well too. They need to make a living. They need to do their thing. So I think it's important for those people to stay around and to be there too. Both sides of this, I think, could be good.
Now you mentioned the good works of Housing Works. How will Housing Works be able to distinguish the products they sell versus the other dispensaries that will come about going forward?
Yeah, I think that's a good question, and especially in like this time where like every little thing is scrutinized. Information is going to come out about Housing Works. Information is going to come out of these other places. Who are they selling? What are they selling? Is there mold on this marijuana? Are they pro-union? Are they supporting the people that work there? So I think like they need to come out with that good press, that good PR, and like put their money where their mouth is in supporting the folks that they're working with.
Now, what are you going to be scoring today?
I have no idea.
I see. Now,
I came here thinking like there might be 5 people online, 5,000 people online, so I'm kind of just like taking it in, seeing where we're going.
I see. But man, thank you so very much for your time. I really appreciate it and for you sharing those stories.
Yeah, no problem. Nice meeting you.
And you as well. Thanks so much. So good to see you, Greg, out here waiting online for the first opportunity to make a purchase of legal cannabis at Housing Works. Talk about this experience versus those times when you were a young guy.
This experience is pretty amazing, and I thought it was the first day. So I really wanted to be here because I think it's it's interesting because I feel as an adult I have a completely different experience than I did as a kid. As a kid, you know, I'm here in close to Washington Square Park. I used to buy weed in the park. I used to buy weed on 9th Street, was notorious for a weed block. There was a record store across the street from my apartment where I used to buy weed. I think it's good to support, and I also love Housing Works. And Housing Works is a fantastic charity that I've always supported, and so I think that a dispensary and Housing Works together is a win-win.
Yeah, you know, I heard that notion as I've been doing interviews here. But tell me, how will Housing Works products distinguish themselves from the other dispensaries?
Listen, I'm gonna tell you, at the end of the day, weed is weed. Do you know what I mean? And you can put a label on it, you can do different things, but at the end of the day, I think the products will be comparable.
Yeah. So, like,
honestly,
for instance, when you would go to, let's say, that the spot that you would say you went to the park or the record shop.
Right.
I mean, who had the best weed?
It didn't. There were people that you can like that were known for good weed, but you know, when it was funny because I lived in Harlem and there was this spot in this apartment building. And I was like, dude, going to this random building. So you go in the random building and you knock on the door, and then the keyhole falls out, and then this finger comes out of the hole and does this like. And so you put your money in, and then the little bag comes out.
That's right.
Wait.
That's
and then
right.
you turn and leave, and then it goes.
Yeah.
It goes back into place. I'm like, wow, that was weed back then.
That's right.
But today, this is nice. But you know what, though? It's all about convenience in New York.
Yes.
And this line is taking so long, so I'm getting ready to order mine delivered.
There you go.
And it's nice that this option is here, but I think that we're talking to some people in line. It's nice because now with so much weed everywhere, it's a buyer's market.
Right.
And so I'm like, wow, I don't have to chase nobody down the street. I ain't got to worry about like buying something that's almost weed or nearly weed.
Yeah.
It's just a really like beautiful position today to just be able to walk around and smoke weed and just live my life.
You know, finally, let me ask you, the people, like for instance, that you could call and have it being delivered, or your normal spot, is there still a world for them to do business in?
I have friends who are in the cannabis business in California, and they have been for a long time. The black market will always exist.
Yeah.
You know, there'll be a market for like dispensaries, and there'll also be a black market, and it's beautiful to have those two. I think that it's we as cannabis lovers and enthusiasts, we appreciate it, and it makes it better for us because it's more weed. The more weed that's available, then the price comes down.
Right. So now, what are you going to be scoring today?
I'm getting ready to go home and have some joints delivered. This line is too long, and I support Housing Works. I support Housing Works Cannabis. But I got to support myself trying to get out of the city to go upstate in a little bit.
But I want to say thank you so very much for your time.
Thank you so much, and I hope this was helpful.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
So it's good to see you out here, Naisha. We're online now for the opportunity to do business with the first legal dispensary here at Housing Works. Yeah. Talk about this experience versus the time when you're a young person trying to find a place to store weed. You know, maybe it was a little deli where, you know, maybe they had a couple of crackers on the shelf, but actually that was the weed spot. Talk about that experience versus just waiting online.
Okay, so I'll start off with this experience. For me, like, this experience is a little more better because I know exactly where I'm going. I know where everything is going to be at. I don't have to worry about the cops trying to like get people and everything else because, you know, back in the days, you know, it was illegal. So, you know, you don't want to be running here and there. So one story I have in particular, I would say I was probably like 17, 18. So I was waiting for somebody to bring me something. So they took so long. And mind you, they only lived 2 blocks away from my house. They took so long, I wound up not getting anything. I had to wait till the next day. And mind you, I was like, what happened? Oh, I forgot. But I'm like, you only 5 minutes from my house. I mean, I could have came to you and got it. Oh, no, but you live by the priest and everything.
Yeah.
So that was for me a bad experience. At least I know being here online is a one-shot deal. I don't have to worry about nothing. I'll go inside. I can place my order. It was my first time, and I actually like it's a non-profit, so they're actually benefiting people, the homeless people, and everything else. So I like that versus, you know, back in the days, everybody little scammer. So waiting for a long process. So I like that. I don't have to wait a certain amount of hours. At least I know I'm gonna get something in return.
You know, I gotta ask you. Do you think it would have been a little bit more adventurous if the dispensary would have opened at 4:20 a.m. as opposed to 4:20 p.m.?
You know what? I think it still would have been a lot of people online because I feel like the anticipation, like everything else, they're like, oh yeah, it's like the first legal thing. So now, like, because now you're seeing like more, like more nationalities, because everybody thought like, back in the days, just like African Americans, everybody else like, but now you see like all these different races, like, oh snap, like I didn't know like
exactly
Wendy, do what she do and stuff. So it's like you just like never know. So now it's more legal for everybody. Some people use it for sleep and everything else.
Exactly.
So I feel like it's going good. It's going good.
Nice. Thank you so very much.
Yes, thank you so much.
Where did you grow up?
Oh, Bronx, New York.
In the Bronx?
Yes.
Did you ever school at a spot on Morris Avenue?
You said Morris?
On Morris Avenue.
I was by Creston.
Thank you so very much. Roy, how you doing, man?
I'm good. How you doing?
So we're waiting online for the first opportunity to make a purchase at Housing Stock for legal cannabis. Talk about this experience versus the time when you first started smoking weed and had to go out and find a weed spot.
Well, the first time I started smoking, I was like 16, summer before, I think junior year. Just went out to Central Park with my friends. That's basically the story.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like the first time that I got from someone else, it was just like a friend of a friend.
Right.
That's just that thing. You know how it is.
Yeah. And so now, how did that take you to finding, the person that you want to do business more regularly with, and how did you find out where the best weed was at that time?
You kind of basically just have to work with what you have.
Yeah.
Like it's really just like I said before, like a friend of a friend or like a recommendation.
Yeah.
And it's kind of just like a Russian roulette that you have to play with it.
Right.
Like if it's nice, great. If not, better luck next time.
Right. I see you're indulging now. What are you smoking?
This is sugar sherbet. Yeah, it's nice.
So now, what are you going to score?
I have no idea. Like they gave us this menu card.
Yeah.
It's in my pocket somewhere. So I'm gonna scan that and see what they have.
And then will you play around maybe with vapors or some other edibles, or will you try a variety of things?
I actually do those. Like I have a vape on me right now.
I see.
And edibles, I might see what they have.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely interested in at least buying some vapes.
Yeah. But man, I want to say thank you so very much for your time. It's almost 4:20, and would you have preferred that the dispensary opened up at 4:20 a.m.?
It's a good question. Yeah. Really good question. Definitely less of a line. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But no, right now it's really convenient for me because I could just get off of work and be here.
Right. But man, I want to say thank you so very much for your time. Happy New Year to you.
Happy New Year, man.
And enjoy.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, Roy. Thanks so much.
No problem.
Good afternoon, Joe. It's a great opportunity to be able to talk to you out here. Actually, we're around the block from 750 Broadway for the very first opportunity to purchase legal cannabis here in New York City at Housing Works. Tell me the difference between this experience waiting online here as opposed to like when we were growing up as kids and trying to find different places to score weed.
Well, about a block and a half away from here, 2nd Avenue in the Bowery, the Colombian guys would be out there. And you know who they were?
Yeah, absolutely.
And everything's kind of low-key.
Yeah.
Sometimes they'd hang out in the billiard room. Sometimes they'd be out there, but people would know what's going on.
Exactly.
It's like a different kind of world, parallel world.
Yes.
As opposed to going into a delicatessen saying, I want this.
Exactly.
So, that ain't going to come back, though.
Right. Now, do you think there's still a marketplace for people who did business like that?
Oh, yeah.
On the illegal side?
Oh, sure, because people are going to grow it and people are not going to pay taxes.
Yeah. Now, how will Housing Works, in terms of their products that they offer, how will they be able to distinguish themselves between the other dispensaries that are going to open up?
Quality and reliability.
Yeah. Yeah.
And everything is going to be like New York State grown anyhow.
Yeah.
So it's going to be like wineries. Who's got the best?
Who's got the best wineries? Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. Now, how will marketing work for the new industry here in New York? As like, for instance, like Acapulco Gold and people brand names and things like that.
A lot of it's going to be social media.
Yeah.
A lot's going to be social media, and I think delivery services are going to like be a big part of it as well. Not only the store, but delivery.
Amazing. And will this be your spot of choice?
I think so. You know, you don't have to go out of state.
Yeah. And finally, what are you going to be scoring today?
Well, hopefully sex, because I understand this stuff makes you like sex crazed. So it's going to be a new experience for me, and I might really just go wild.
Yeah, I hear you.
So I hope to be lucky.
There you go. But thank you so very much for your time. I really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you.
I appreciate it. God bless.
Thank you, sir.
Good luck.
It's 4:20 at the dispensary, and we're about to go in.
Hold on, let me see what happens. You good, Mr. Thornton?
Yeah.
You want to stay outside?
No, well, can I go in?
Come on. OCM? OCM? All right, cool.
Thank you, brother.
Go ahead, bro.